Hey, what's up YouTube? Welcome back to my channel, and today a very special video. For one thing, it's the first video with the beard stash. Sound off on in the comments. Do you like it? Do you not like it? But also, it's my first video back with Rutgers 101. This is going to be a little bit of a controversial one because in this video I'm going to be ranking and talking about the 4 different campuses at Rutgers and basically going over the pros and the cons, the benefits and the drawbacks. So my methodology for ranking these campuses is basically I'm using 8 criteria and I'm ranking each of them on these criteria, and then at the end they'll get a certain amount of points. So the 8 criteria I picked were on-campus housing, so the housing provided by Rutgers, off-campus housing, so housing provided by where you pay rent to a private individual or corporation, meal plan dining, which is the dining you can use meal swipes at, so diners or dining halls and cafes, places where you can use meal swipes. Non-meal plan dining, which is basically just the restaurants on campus. Bus accessibility, how accessible is it by the various bus routes? Walkability, how many walking paths are there? How compact is it? How safe is it to walk there? Scenic, is it a nice looking campus? And then social life, which is, what are the events that are going on? What are the things to do? That sort of thing. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into the rankings. So coming in 4th place is the first campus I ever lived on, Busch campus. Now, first I'm going to talk about the positives of Busch. Busch, I think, by far has the best on-campus housing options. It finished first in that. Because they have the dorms, if you want a traditional dorm. They also have suites, which allow, you have your own bathroom and sort of living area. They have Best Hall. They have a bunch of different apartments. So if you just really want to live on campus, Busch probably has an option that fits you. So that's really cool. Other than that, though, that's the only category it finished first in. And it finished very low in a lot of categories, mainly off-campus housing. There aren't really any apartments on Busch, off-campus apartments, I mean. And then walkability, Busch is very spread out. It's not very walkable. It finished last in scenicness. It's not a very pretty campus. And I'm not saying it's not pretty and it's not walkable at all, but it's just relative to the other campuses, it's not that great. And social life is a big one. There really isn't much of a social life on Busch. Other than football games, which are on Busch and you can walk to them, it's good for that. But a lot of the people who live on Busch are STEM majors or engineers, so they don't really, tend to have a lot of big social gatherings. So if you're someone who really wants that in your place that you live, Busch is maybe not the best choice. So basically, I would say Busch is a good fit for STEM majors because a lot of your classes might be there. But other than that, I mean, unless you really, really don't want to live off campus as a sophomore or junior, Busch doesn't really have a lot going for it. Coming in 3rd place is Libby. Libby kind of has the opposite issue to Busch, where it really doesn't have that many housing options. There's just quads, towers, and the apartments. And quads and towers are both really only suitable to freshmen and maybe sophomores. And then the apartments are really only attainable for seniors. So, and there really isn't any off-campus options. So really for Libby, that's the main thing that kind of holds it back. Other than that, it does have a lot going for it. I think Libby is a fairly scenic campus and it is fairly walkable. And it does have a pretty good social life. I put it 2nd place for social life because it has the basketball games, it has the movie theater, it has Libby Plaza. There's a lot going on in Libby. And it has by far, I think, the best on-campus dining. Kilmer's Market is pretty good. Henry's Diner is really good. They have the best dining hall in my opinion. So Libby has a lot going for it, but it's really hampered by the lack of housing options. Unless you're a freshman or a senior, there really isn't a lot for you on Libby in terms of residence options, so that's the main thing holding it back. Coming in 2nd place is Cookdug. Cookdug is a really good all-around campus. It does a lot of things pretty well. The only real drawback with living on Cookdug is the lack of bus accessibility. Especially if you have anything on Busch or Livingston, it's really tough to get from Cookdug to Livingston or Busch just because of how the bus routes work. But other than that, I'd say it's by far the most scenic campus. It's also, I think, the most walkable. Partially because it's so scenic, but also I think it's safer to walk on Cookdug than it is on College Ave, which gives it a little bit of an edge. The on-campus dining is pretty good. I think Nielsen's a good dining hall, and Cook Cafe is a pretty good on-campus cafe. Oh, sorry, Douglas Cafe. Cook Cafe is not open yet, but once it's open, I hear it's really good. So it has a lot going for it. There's also a lot of on-campus housing options and off-campus housing options. There's a bunch of different apartments that are actually attainable if you're a junior. Unlike on Libby. And then there's also a lot of off-campus stuff like houses and apartments that are a lot more affordable than College Ave. So overall, Cookdug has a lot going for it, especially if you want a little bit more of a peaceful environment. I definitely recommend Cookdug. As long as you don't have a lot of classes on Busch or Libby, it really is a pretty good option. So if you want something that's a little bit more peaceful, I would definitely recommend Cook Dug. And finally, in first place is College Avenue, the campus I lived on last year. Now, College Avenue is the central campus at Rutgers, and it's a central campus for a reason. There's a lot going on, and that can be a drawback for some people if they want a little bit more of a peaceful environment. But, you know, for social life, it's by far the best. You know, all the frats are there, all the sororities are there. There's always fun stuff happening. Damaris Hall is there. They are always having events. There's George Street, Easton Ave. So, like, for restaurants, it's by far the best for that as well. And the thing is, I think the only thing it finished last place in is meal plan dining. And the thing is, since there's so much accessibility by bus, you can access every campus directly from College Ave. It's the only campus where that's the case. You can easily just go somewhere else. I mean, if you don't want to go to Broward, it's really easy to just take a bus to Libby, take the LX, and you're there in like 5-10 minutes. And it really, College Ave, it's a really good overall campus. I think for anyone who wants to live at Rutgers, College Ave is a good option. And yeah, the only thing is it's a little bit expensive and it's a little bit noisy. So those are like, if you're worried about cost and if you're worried about sort of having a more peaceful environment, College Ave might not be for you. But other than those two things, it really is just a very good all-around campus. It has a lot going for it. So I would definitely highly recommend College Ave. If you're like a freshman or a sophomore and you don't know where to live at, College Ave is, I think, the best option for you. So in conclusion, each campus has its own unique benefits and drawbacks that'll suit different students better. Remember, don't make your choice based just on my rankings or anyone's rankings. Make sure to pick the campus you live on based on what suits you the best, what fits your lifestyle the best, because that's ultimately what's the most important. Other than that, I really hope you enjoyed my video. I upload new videos every Friday, so if you want to see all those, feel free to subscribe. Other than that, hope you enjoyed. Peace.